Motivational quotes Niccolo Machiavelli. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. There is no avoiding war, it can only be postponed to the advantage of others. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries, for heavy ones, they cannot. There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. The promise given was a necessity of the past, the word broken is a necessity of the present. Severities should be dealt out all at once so that their suddenness may give less offense, benefits ought to be handed out drop by drop so that they may be relished the more. Before all else, be armed. The fact is that a man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. There is no surer sign of decay in a country than to see the rights of religion held in contempt. No enterprise is more likely to succeed than one concealed from the enemy until it is ripe for execution. A son can bear with equanimity the loss of his father, but the loss of his inheritance may drive him to despair. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise that the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. Of mankind, we may say in general, they are fickle, hypocritical, and greedy of gain. For among other evils caused by being disarmed, it renders you contemptible, which is one of those disgraceful things which a prince must guard against. Nature that framed us of four elements warring within our breasts for regiment doth teach us all to have aspiring minds. Politics have no relation to morals. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo, I want to overthrow it. Men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed, for if you merely offend them, they take vengeance, but if you injure them greatly, they are unable to retaliate, so that the injury done to a man ought to be such that vengeance cannot be feared. The more sand has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. Men rise from one ambition to another. First, they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. Hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. It is much more secure to be feared than to be loved. God is not willing to do everything and thus take away our free will and that share of glory which belongs to us. Men shrink less from offending one who inspires love than one who inspires fear. Hence it comes about that all armed prophets have been victorious, and all unarmed prophets have been destroyed. To understand the nature of the people, one must be a prince, and to understand the nature of the prince, one must be of the people. Since it is difficult to join them together, it is safer to be feared than to be loved when one of the two must be lacking. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. One who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promise. War is just when it is necessary, alms are permissible when there is no hope except in alms. A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interests. Men are so simple and yield so readily to the desires of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked. The new ruler must determine all the injuries that he will need to inflict. He must inflict them once and for all. The main foundations of every state, new states as well as ancient or composite ones, are good laws and good arms. You cannot have good laws without good arms, and where there are good arms, good laws inevitably follow. Benefits should be conferred gradually, and in that way, they will taste better. The distinction between children and adults, while probably useful for some purposes, is at bottom a specious one, I feel. There are only individual egos, crazy for love. Tardiness often robs us opportunity and the dispatch of our forces. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and remember to hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe and comment.